Now, pressure has been mounting on tech giant Facebook after a former employee, Frances Haugen, turned whistleblower and revealed to the US Congress a business model she's called a threat to society. Her message has resonated here in Europe, where lawmakers have for years been looking for ways to regulate the social media company. On Monday, she addressed a committee of the British Parliament and testified that Facebook intentionally pushes hateful ads to increase profits and hides this from users and investors. Well, one of the people who's gained something of a reputation for standing up to the tech giants is Margrethe Vestager. She's the European Union's Executive Vice President for A Europe Fit for the Digital Age. She's been EU Competition Commissioner since 2014, and she's here in Berlin. Welcome to DW, Ms. Vestager. I know you're currently investigating...
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. You're currently investigating whether Facebook's access to so much of our personal data gives it an unfair competitive advantage. And this week, as I say, we've been hearing from the Facebook whistleblower who accuses Mark Zuckerberg of having unilateral control over 3 billion people. So I suppose we'll start with a simple question. Is Facebook too powerful?
Not for our democracy. If we stand together, then we can make real changes. And just to make Facebook assess the risk that they could pose to young people's mental health and to have, external people looking into that assessment to see if things are being corrected, that would be an important step forward.
OK. We don't have that. And I know that you and the EU have been pursuing Facebook and others for some time. What do you need to do now to rein it in?
Well, we have had, competition cases, but that is not enough. We also need to regulate much tighter if we are dealing with someone who can have an immense influence both on mental health, but also how our democracy develops. And this is why now the European Parliament and the European Council, they are considering two pieces of legislation that we, the Commission, had put in front of them in order to to make the traffic rules of the internet to preserve freedom of expression, but to get rid of all the things that are illegal offline, because they should not be illegal online. They should not be legal online either.
Is Facebook so big that it should be broken up? Is it time now to do that?
Well, that would take us probably to court for years with no end. What is important is that we can take action now so that things changes, that smaller businesses can get full access to the market, and that the things that are damaging in social media, that the companies take their responsibility. Because with the kind of power that Facebook holds, of course, also comes responsibility to deal with things that poses a risk to people.
So what you mentioned that there are two pieces of legislation that you've put in front of the European Parliament. Briefly, what are the two aims then?
Well, for the first, which is called the Digital Services Act, is to make sure that when digital services are provided, like social media services, like the Facebook services, that's on the one hand side, there's freedom of expression. On the other hand side, that illegal content is taken down, but also when products are being sold online, that that they are safe as if you go into a toy store on Main Street. And the second piece of legislation, the Digital Markets Act, will open the gates that big companies are keeping right now, making it more difficult for mid and small-sized businesses actually to get to their potential customers. In an open economy, of course, you need to get to the customers without someone keeping the gate for you.
You've made your name pursuing these big tech companies, but last year Apple appealed against 13 billion euros in back taxes. That was something that you imposed. I mean, did you get that wrong, or does Apple just have better lawyers?
Well, that is now for the European Court of Justice to decide, because we appealed in due respect of the General Court, of course, that decision. We do our best to make sure that our cases, they will stand up in court. We are obliged, since the union is built on the rule of law, that goes without any question. But of course, the court can disagree with you. That is the risk that I know that is there. But of course, we need to try to pull through if we think we have a good and a strong case, then to dare to take a decision.
All right. And you were being discussed as a potential European Commission president at one stage. Does that job still interest you?
Well, you know, when I didn't get it, I considered for 30, 40 seconds, should I be bitter and angry about it? Or should I get on with the very privileged job that I have right now? And I took that decision to pull through and see if I can make myself useful for European citizens when it comes to digital and competition. And I'm really, really happy with the job that I have right now.
OK, so that wasn't quite a no, but we thank you for joining us. Margrethe Vestager, Executive Vice President of the European Commission.